They say women don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. What if I told you that just 3 words, when said right, will live rent-free in her mind forever? If you're watching this right now, you're probably tired of trying too hard, of doing everything they said. Be nice, be available, be the guy who texts back fast, and still feeling like a ghost. Ignored, forgotten, left on read. I know what that feels like. I've lived it. You keep wondering, what am I doing wrong? You've done everything by the book, but something always feels off. There's a reason for that. You've been taught how to talk, but not how to resonate. You've been taught how to chase, not how to be chased. The game isn't rigged. You've just been playing the wrong one. And this video, it's going to flip everything. If this hits home already, comment, "I attract, not chase," and make a promise to yourself to listen with your whole heart till the end. Now, before we dive into the 3 words, understand this. This isn't a trick. It's not some cheap tactic to manipulate someone into liking you. It's about embodying a truth, a principle, a presence. It's about becoming unforgettable, not through force, but through meaning, through energy that stays long after the moment is over. This is about reclaiming your power, not just in dating, but in how you show up in life. Number 1, you and I. There's a reason why you and I doesn't just sound different, it feels different. These words don't belong to the world of tricks or tactics. They belong to something far older, the power of suggestion, the way language can slip past logic and stir something deeper. And yet most men don't see it. They think influence is loud, complex, and requires approval. But there is no approval in confidence. There is no begging in presence. You and I works not because it's clever, but because it builds a frame, a window into a shared future, a picture she wasn't expecting but suddenly can't stop looking at. And if you use these words with intent, with tone, and with timing, you create something most men never will: mental real estate. You and I would make one hell of a team if we ever stopped pretending otherwise. That line doesn't just hint at chemistry, it implies a shared, unspoken truth. Now she's not just thinking about how she feels, she's wondering how long you felt it too. That's how you use words to stay with someone, not in their ears, but in their decisions. You and I should never be unsupervised, light-hearted, suggestive, but in her mind it paints laughter, tension, moments. She's now in a scene you created. That's the whole point. You're not using you and I to impress her. You're using it to imply a future so effortlessly that she begins to imagine it. That's how emotion embeds, through stories, through images, through implications that live beyond logic. A woman might not remember your resume or your routine, but she will remember the emotional movie you played in her mind. And you and I is your remote control. It's a phrase that doesn't chase, it leads. It doesn't seek validation, it assumes it. And the man who can say it not as a line, but as a truth, he leaves a mark. It's in the tone, it's in the way you pause before saying it. You could spend 1,000 hours learning what to text and still get left on read. Or you could learn to speak like a man who sees himself as a prize. And then, every sentence you drop becomes a doorway, not into neediness, but into curiosity. You and I, we'd probably argue all the time, but God, we'd enjoy every minute of it. That isn't just humor. That's a line that creates tension, chemistry, opposites colliding. She hears it and thinks, what would that actually be like? She's picturing conversations, friction, laughter. She's imagining. And that's how attraction grows, in imagination. You and I should never be allowed in the same city without causing trouble. It's humorous, yes, but it implies a shared journey, a rebel energy, something that makes her wonder what it would feel like to actually be around you longer than a moment. And wonder is the first door to obsession. But these words only work when they're built on something real. You can't say "you and I" if you've been trying to force interest or chasing validation. The phrase becomes powerful only when she already senses something unique about you. That's the part most men miss. They try to copy the delivery without becoming the man who means it. The truth is, you say "you and I" not to start something, but to anchor what already exists. This is why internal discipline matters. If your words are empty, they will evaporate. But if your life has structure, if your habits show purpose, if your silence carries weight, then your words will feel earned. And when a woman feels like she has to earn your presence, she will value every word that follows. That's what "you and I" becomes, a reward, not for her attention, but for the connection you allowed. The reason it lands so deeply is that it's indirect. It's not asking, it's not pushing, it's offering a preview of a possible future, a vision she can step into. That's where most men fail. They ask women to feel something they haven't created space for. But "you and I" is space itself. It opens the mind. And if spoken at the right moment, it creates a new emotional file in her brain, titled "You." You must understand something universal. Women don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they can feel, but not explain. "You and I" slides past logic. It's not about convincing. It's about letting her feel the heat of a scene you never fully describe. That's what makes it so addictive. If you've ever had a woman say, "I can't explain it, there's just something about him," congratulations, that's the effect. And it starts with a few words spoken with intention. Use it wisely. "You and I, we've got unfinished business." A phrase like that brings back a memory, hints at unresolved tension. Even if no story existed before, you just created one. Her mind starts to fill in the blanks. Did you miss a chance before? Is there a story behind the stare you just gave her? And now, without asking for it, she's invested. That's what great dialogue does. It makes her write the next line in her head. You don't hand her the story, you show her the first scene. And when she sees it clearly enough, she wants more. That's the art of influence. Every man trying to be memorable should know this. Your goal isn't to be impressive. Your goal is to be felt, to leave behind a residue that lingers. And "you and I" is residue if you say it right. Not quickly, not when you're unsure, but when the energy is undeniable and your confidence is calm. When your tone is low, when your eyes don't flinch, when your words have rhythm, not desperation, that's when she listens. That's when she remembers. Number 2, mystery is everything. She isn't drawn to what she understands, she's drawn to what she can't quite define. And most men kill mystery before the first date even begins. They explain, overshare, and unpack every detail like it's a resume. But here's the truth. The less she knows about you, the more she thinks about you. Because the mind hates blanks. It fills them in. And if you've mastered your presence, the picture she paints in her head is 10 times more captivating than the truth. That's why mystery matters. It isn't a trick. It's the most ancient form of gravity. It's the space between answers. It's the pause before a kiss. The 3 words that trigger this effect aren't about identity. They're about initiation. They signal something rare, something different. And those 3 words are, "Figure me out." Not spoken directly, but in energy, in behavior, in controlled gaps of silence. Mystery is not the absence of information. It's the presence of tension. When you leave a detail out, when you hold back from revealing everything, when you drop a sentence like, "I'll tell you later, it's more fun when you figure me out," you're not being difficult, you're being unforgettable. Because people remember what they couldn't solve. They remember questions more than answers. She's not attracted to your facts. She's pulled into your unknowns. Imagine you're sitting across from her, and instead of explaining what you do or where you went to school, you say, "That's a story for another time." Now you've planted something, a thread, something that doesn't close, and it nags at her mind when you're gone. That's how you own space without saying a word. You become a question mark with a pulse, a sentence that was never finished, a door that's slightly open. Men who talk too much destroy this tension. They answer questions that were never asked. They flood space with data instead of magnetism. "Figure me out" is the frame, and everything else becomes selective revelation. Tell her about the scar, but not how you got it. Tell her you moved cities, but not why. Say, "Some things are better found than told." Every time you say less than expected, you build value. Because silence isn't absence, it's suspense. And if she's leaning in, wondering what you're not saying, that's power. Mystery isn't detachment. It's a design. It's structure with gaps. Every interesting man knows how to craft presence by withholding just enough to stir interest without frustration. When you say, "Figure me out," you're not giving her a puzzle. You're giving her the thrill of chasing meaning. And most people, especially women, fall hardest not for what they were given, but for what they had to discover. Let that sink in. Let her find you in layers. Speak with purpose, but leave doors closed. And when you drop a hint, make sure it leads somewhere emotional, not informational. Figure me out doesn't mean being difficult. It means being deep. It means saying things like, "I don't talk about that on first dates," with a look that suggests not pain, but meaning. Or when she asks why you stopped replying for a few hours, don't explain. Just say, "I was writing something that mattered." Then leave it at that. If she asks what you're thinking, tell her, "You'll know when you need to." Not dismissively, not coldly, but like a man who carries his thoughts like sacred currency. Mystery doesn't mean disappearing. It means being the man she's constantly trying to decipher, the one she thinks about hours after you leave, the man whose stories have just enough missing to keep her awake at night. You don't just answer with data, you answer with feeling. If she asks what kind of person you are, don't list adjectives. Say, "Depends who's asking." Say, "Some days I'm chaos, some days I'm clarity." Say, "I've never been one thing long enough to describe it." These aren't lines, they're layers. There is a place between being distant and being overwhelming. And that space, that's your throne. You sit in it by saying less and meaning more. Mystery isn't being cold, it's being vivid without being obvious. You let her see the shape of you, but never the full design. That's what "figure me out" means. It's an invitation, not a test. Number 3, direct, not dominant. There is an ocean of difference between dominance and direction, and most men sink because they try to control what they should be leading. Being direct is not barking orders. It's not over-explaining your masculinity or pushing her to react. It's clarity without pressure. It's action without the need for applause. And in this age of endless games and blurred lines, directness is rebellion. Here are 3 words that carry more influence than a paragraph of persuasion. I want this. Speak that in the right tone, at the right time, and it doesn't sound like control. It feels like calm leadership. And that's rare. Every time a man says, "I want this," with certainty, he reveals not just his decision, but his self-trust. And self-trust is what most women are scanning for beneath every conversation. I want this isn't arrogance, it's direction. It's knowing what you will and will not tolerate. I want this, but not at the cost of who I am. That line. It draws a boundary and offers a vision, and that combination is rare. She hears it and realizes you're not trying to adapt to her whims. You're showing her who you already are. Being direct with desire doesn't mean laying it all out in desperation. It means you're not afraid of your own truth. I want this connection, but I won't chase it. She feels the energy behind those words, that you're intentional but not needy, that you lead without needing to pull. Women are drawn to men who move with clarity, not chaos. I want this experience to feel real, not rushed. That's how you anchor presence. That's how you lead a moment into depth. And don't just say it, live it. If you say, I want this, and your life doesn't reflect that same decisiveness, the words collapse. This is why so many fail. They mimic language, but they haven't earned it. Your habits must back your mouth. Your choices must echo your clarity. You want her to believe you. Be congruent. That's where power lives. And the more you align your speech with your walk, the more impact each word will carry. I want this peace more than validation. Say that to yourself. Then say it to the world in your energy. Because the moment a man stops trying to dominate and starts directing with calm certainty, he becomes undeniable. It's in how you take the lead without asking permission. It's in how you offer structure without needing control. I want this moment to be honest, even if it's not perfect. That's leadership in a sentence. You're not trying to impress her. You're anchoring her in a shared truth, that the connection matters more than image, that presence matters more than performance. Every interaction is a mirror to your internal standard. If your words are scattered, if your actions are unsure, if your rhythm is reactive, you will not be remembered. But when you speak with sharpness, not volume, with certainty, not pushiness, your words stay. Women are exhausted by men who say too much and mean too little. So say what you want, but say it like it's already true, because belief precedes attraction. I want this, and I'm not afraid to lose it if it's not aligned. That's real power. That's stillness speaking. Direct men move like they know what they'll walk away from. They're not attached to outcome. They're loyal to truth. I want this time to matter, not just exist. That's how you take a fleeting moment and give it density. That's how she starts to see your words not just as conversation, but as architecture, something to build on. And when she feels that your clarity isn't aimed at getting something from her, but bringing her into something real, you become unforgettable. So stop trying to be aggressive, be articulate, be exact, lead with your choices, walk like a decision, speak like a man who's tasted silence and still chooses clarity. I want this is not just a phrase, it's a declaration of who you are, and if you own it fully, the world, and the women in it, will respond. Number 4. Timing is sacred. Say the right words at the wrong time, and you might as well have said nothing. That's the cruel truth about attraction, connection, and the psychology of attention. Timing isn't part of the game, it is the game. And every man who tries to speak before he's felt the moment, every man who blurts out truth before the space is ready to hold it, ends up misunderstood, ignored, or worse, dismissed. The reason timing is sacred is because it decides whether your words will echo or evaporate. And if there's a single quality separating unforgettable men from forgettable noise, it's the ability to wait until the moment is begging for your words. That's when they stick. That's when they cut. That's when they leave a mark. Let's talk about 3 words that, when said at the exact right second, can change the entire direction of a connection. Not right now. These are not words of rejection. They're words of awareness. They say, I see the value here, but I also see the value of the moment we're in. It's the man who knows not to confess love when she's distracted. It's the man who waits until the silence is charged before he speaks. When you say, not right now, with strength, you show restraint that most men don't have, and it doesn't push her away. It draws her in, because now she's not reacting to your words, she's anticipating your next one. That anticipation is attraction. Say she opens up finally, vulnerably. She reveals something personal, raw. The average man jumps in with solutions, with reassurance, with noise. The man who understands timing, he waits. He doesn't try to fix. He lets her feel heard. Then, after a pause, he says, "Not right now, but I'm not going anywhere." That's not a line. That's a tether. That's you anchoring her experience without rushing it. And it's that timing of response, not reaction, that makes her realize you're different. She may not say it out loud, but she will remember it. This is why silence, space, and restraint are underestimated. Every high-impact communicator knows that what's unsaid shapes what's heard. When you pause before answering, you show her that you're not reacting, you're choosing. Not right now becomes a way to hold the moment rather than crush it. You're not pushing away, you're inviting her to feel the gravity of the moment. And because so few men do that, your words begin to carry the kind of weight that stays long after the conversation ends. The only reason "not right now" hits so hard is because it introduces something most men fear: patience. It communicates that you're in control not only of your words, but of your pacing, of your direction, of your attention span. She's not used to that. She's used to pressure, to immediate reactions, to men who try to fill the gap before it becomes uncomfortable. But the man who says "not right now" at the right second, he's memorable not because he tried hard, but because he waited right. He doesn't need to be first. He needs to be felt. Think of the man who's about to kiss her. He feels the air shift. He sees the look in her eyes, but he doesn't lean in right away. He lets the pause do its work. He waits until she's already imagining it. Then he says quietly, "Not right now, but soon." Now she's leaning in. Now she's wondering. Now she's emotionally involved in the outcome, not because of pressure, but because of pace. That's the magic of timing. It's not about delaying for the sake of delay. It's about sensing when the emotional current is aligned. Most men override the rhythm of a moment with their need to be felt. But a man who respects timing, he lets her come closer without demand. He makes her feel like she's choosing, not being persuaded. And that's the kind of choice that rewires memory. "Not right now" isn't an excuse. It's a positioning, a way of saying, "I respect this enough not to rush it." Whether you're speaking to her vulnerability, her desire, her anger, it's the same principle. Pause, then place your words. That's when she listens, not because you spoke louder, but because you spoke when the silence was hungry for it. And in this world, filled with endless interruptions, with dopamine chasing, with the noise of needing to be understood, timing becomes the language of leadership. Use it, own it. And when you say "not right now," don't explain it, just mean it. Because when the moment returns, and it will, your words will hit deeper than you ever could have planned. Number 5, speak through energy. Words are decoration, energy is the architecture. You can say all the right things, memorize every script, master the tone, and still get dismissed in seconds if your energy doesn't align with your intent. She doesn't respond to the sentence, she responds to the state it was born from. And every man who's ever wondered why a well-crafted message didn't land, why a compliment felt awkward, why she ghosted after a seemingly great conversation, needs to hear this. Your words mean nothing if your energy is not clean. And by clean, I don't mean pure, I mean congruent, truthful, real, undeniable. Energy is your silent message. It walks into the room before your mouth opens. It lingers after the conversation ends. It's the unspoken code she reads when you say, "you and I," and she feels whether it's a pickup line or a prophecy. It's what gives "I don't know" gravity, or makes it sound like weakness. It's the reason "I want this" can sound desperate from one man and magnetic from another. It's why "not right now" can either sound like avoidance or mastery. Energy is the filter. It either dilutes your words or deepens them. It tells her if you are a man of weight or noise, and it is the one thing you cannot fake for long. If your energy is coming from scarcity, from need, from seeking validation, nothing you say will work. You could say, "You and I would make trouble together," but if your energy is anxious, disconnected, unsure, she'll feel it and reject it before she even knows why. That's how intuitive the feminine mind is. She feels before she thinks. And men who understand that stop focusing on what to say and start focusing on who they are while saying it. Want to make "I want this" hit with power. Then live a life that reflects it. Want "not right now" to create anticipation instead of confusion? Then make sure your stillness isn't empty, it's earned. Energy is the transmission. It's the signal behind the signal, and most men are sending the wrong one. They talk about value, but move like men who've never defined it. They quote strength, but avoid confrontation. They want her to trust them, but they don't trust their own voice, and it's felt. So what's the fix? Start aligning. Start developing habits that match your words. Start walking like your name means something. Start looking in the mirror, not to check your looks, but to confirm your frame. Ask yourself, what message is my silence sending? What does she feel when I speak? Is it certainty, or is it confusion disguised as charm? You can't fake presence. You can't rehearse depth. It's built. And if you want to be the man who says 3 words that she thinks about all day, then make sure your energy speaks louder than your voice. Because at the end of it all, she won't remember the line. She'll remember the feeling, and that feeling was your energy. Speak through it, live through it, and let your life prove it before your mouth tries to. You don't get another life to figure this out. Every moment you delay, you give away your power to people who never earned it, and women who never deserved it. The truth is, most men will never hear this message. They'll keep guessing, keep chasing, keep losing. But you heard it. Now you move different. Now you speak different. And if you felt this in your chest, if something woke up inside you, then comment "energy" first. Like this video, subscribe. Because every time you do, another man who's lost in noise finds the signal, and maybe, just maybe, saves himself from years of regret. And for the man who's ready, not just hungry, but ready, the ebook is in the comments. No fluff, no filler, just the full blueprint to turn everything you've just heard into muscle memory. Get it now, because truth should never wait, and neither should you.